Advisors to President Joe Biden, as you mentioned, say that Putin would like the Chinese to add military weapons to this. NSC spokesperson John Kirby today saying that the U.S. has made it clear, both publicly and also behind the scenes, to the Chinese that would be a bad idea. Back to you.
Edward, thank you for that. Edward Lawrence at the White House. I want to go to Doug Collins. You know him, of course, as a former Georgia congressman. More importantly, has served this country with great honor and distinction in the Air Force Reserve et al. I can go on and on about him, but he doesn't like me talking about that part of him. He's just a modest guy. If I had his background, I would not be so modest. But anyway, Congressman, very good to see you. I'm just wondering what you make of this meeting. I mentioned what each country kind of has, you know, economically at stake. Russia is almost desperate. China has cash to burn almost. What is China doing and what is Xi Jinping doing in Russia? Is this about cementing that relationship, building on it? What do you think?
No, I don't think Xi's wanting to cement or build anything. If anything, he's wanting to cement and build on top of Putin. Look, he has much grander vision for China over the next few years. He sees this as a positioning chip that he can use his the Russians to get what he wants. He's getting cheap oil. He's getting cheap minerals. He can sort of name his price to Putin because Putin is absolutely desperate. So I see this more as a very unequal relationship right now, in which Xi sees this as a chance to raise his standards in the world, his stakes in the world, showing that he is the premier player in this fight against America, and that really frankly, he would throw Putin over the side, I believe, in a heartbeat if it furthered China's aims. This is simply to keep Putin in line to where he wants to go.
You know, there is talk as well that China, they're pretty canny at these things, much like it did get an overture on the part of Saudi Arabia to talk to Iran and Iran to talk to Saudi Arabia. It's not a peace agreement, but it's a business agreement, a business relationship that was heretofore unthinkable. Could Xi do the same? In other words, could we see China forge an agreement in Ukraine that puts the pressure on Ukraine to settle with Russia, or is it a ploy to just keep maybe buying some time, letting Russia build up a troop presence and attack all over?
I think it's more of a ploy, Neil. I mean, think about this for a second. Ukraine has, the United States, Britain, Europe, and the rest in this area, and most are saying Ukraine is not going to bend, and Zelensky is saying that as well. I think for Putin and Xi in this relationship, Xi is sort of naming the terms and saying, okay, if you want to continue to do this, fine. Just don't basically get too far out over your skis. We'll continue to help you. But at the end of the day, China is cold in one aspect. They are only concerned about China. They're only concerned about the business aspect of China. They're only concerned about the furthering their government control of the world in many ways. This is simply an extension. But unfortunately, for the Biden administration to say China is not already sort of playing in Ukraine, especially from a military perspective, as Chairman McCall actually said, the drone situation and others, it's just wrong. So I think China is just trying to use this on the world stage to say, see, we're the bigger player, but yet behind the scenes they're saying, okay, we're making money off of this. We're going to continue to see Russia weakened, number one. We're going to see us put more in line with America. And I think the Americans, we have got to actually begin to realize that China is not our friend here.
You know, that might be an understatement. Always good catching up with you, Doug. Doug Collins, the former Georgia congressman.